I mean, I've been held up at gunpoint. I learned how to drive a tank. I was blessed by the Pope. I was reunited with my family. Even when my adopted family told me, okay, you will never see your family again. You have no family in Poland. You know, that could have killed me, or I could have gone into, of course, I cried every night for years for my family because it was like a death. But every day I showed up. And once we got to JFK, I saw, you know, it came out of the immigration and I saw people reuniting and meeting and nobody was there waiting for me. So I remember thinking, oh my God, what will happen to me? The very next morning, I woke up and everything was gone. I couldn't change it, already what happened. I couldn't do anything. But to me, the most important thing was to let it go. Let them go. Let them be.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Broken Beautiful Me. It's where we gather in our sacred space to have soul-deep, honest conversations and heal. I'm your host, Kelly Buckley, and today I am so fortunate to have as my guest, Christine Sadry. Christine is an award-winning author and former United Nations peacekeeper whose remarkable memoir, 13 Years Lost, has inspired readers around the world. Born in a small village behind the Iron Curtain, Christine left communist Poland alone at just 9 years old, seeking freedom in America, only to spend the next 13 years in silence, disconnection, and abuse within her adoptive home. Against all odds, she found the strength to reclaim her identity, reconnect with her roots, and rebuild her life. Christine went on to serve 31 years with the United Nations, traveling the globe on peacekeeping and humanitarian missions, an extraordinary journey that took her from being held at gunpoint to receiving a personal blessing from Pope John Paul II. Her memoir has won the Literary Titan Gold Book Award and is a finalist for both the American Writing Awards and the Benjamin Franklin Book Award. But beyond the accolades, Christine's mission is to share a message of resilience, healing, and the belief that no matter where you are today, you are never stuck. There is always hope. Welcome to the podcast, Christine. It's so lovely to have you with me.
Thank you so much for welcoming me.
So when you reflect on your journey, can you just tell us a little bit about, coming to America at 9 years old? Tell me kind of that origin story of how you ended up in America and how that felt as a child.
Well, I was born behind the Iron Curtain in Poland after the war. And at the age of 5, our mother had died and she left 4 girls. Our father left, and it was, my sisters were taken by family, aunts and uncles, and I was there on the farm with my grandmother. And she used to tell me stories, many stories. We would sit by the fire. And one of the things that she often spoke about was America, the land of freedom, land of dreams, land of opportunity. And, as an 8-year-old child, you have this, you have a great imagination. So I remember it stayed with me. And one day I was walking in my village, and this man that I've never seen before, I guess he was visiting family, and he asked me in Polish, would you like to come to America? Well, to me, it was as if fate rained upon me because I heard about this. I heard about this wonderful country, and I knew, even at the age of 8, that I was behind the Iron Curtain. So I ran to my grandmother and I said, I want to go to America. I can do it. I can handle this. Have my father, because he had left, make sure he signs the papers. So then at the age of 9, my grandmother and my uncle and my sisters, we got together. They took me to the train, and my uncle came with me all the way to Warsaw. They put me on the plane. Actually, this is the photo of me at 9 years old in the airport in Warsaw. And, I arrived at JFK. I mean, it was a lot of emotions. I was happy, I was sad, I was excited. As a child, I was going into a foreign country I knew nothing about. I didn't really know the family, and I was leaving my family behind. And once we got to JFK, I saw, it came out of the immigration, and I saw people reuniting and meeting, and nobody was there waiting for me. So I remember thinking, oh my God, what will happen to me? You know, just I was just sitting there, and I was, afraid because no one was there. And about an hour or so later, the man I recognized that was in Poland showed up, my adopted father, and we took all my things and we were on our way to Philadelphia. And we got there very late. I met my adopted mother, and I had all these gifts and suitcases and presents but I was very tired. I was exhausted. And I went to sleep. And the very next morning, I woke up and everything was gone. All my documents, all the suitcases, all the gifts, everything was gone. And a chill ran down my back, and I thought, oh my God, what have I done? I hope I can survive, because it didn't feel right.
Mhm. Oh my goodness, that must have been just incredibly scary, and you were at such a tender age. So when your book is titled 13 Years Lost. So tell me about that your decision to write about it, and tell me about those 13 lost years.
Well, so many things had happened to me in my life that it was just, at 18, I tried to locate my family. I remember their address. The letter was intercepted, and someone else tried to write back to me to get money out of me. And so I just gave up. I figured when I turned 30, I will go and look for my family, because I remembered her address from 8 years old. And then at 22, which is 13 years later, I get a phone call from Chicago, some kind of a detective or investigator or private eye. He said, "Are you Christine so and so?" I said, "Yes." "Well, your sister has been looking for you." And of course, I already had this one bad experience that it was a fake. So and he said to me, "Well, your sister wants you to write to her." And I said, "No, I'm not going to write to anyone. If it is my sister, you tell her to write to me. It has to be in English, because by then I didn't speak Polish. And if I think it is my sister, I will write back." And so, of course, back then it was communism. And so it took a long time for the letter to arrive. And there it was. "Dear Chris, I am your sister Elizabeth. I am the oldest. We have never forgotten you. We've been searching for you all our lives." And it felt real, and a lot of tears. And so I had then invited my sister Teresa to come to the US, because I had no papers. When I left this family, I had nothing except a little suitcase with a few pieces of clothing. So I had to reconstruct my life. I had to find out, my adoption papers, try to get a birth certificate. And once I had everything together, passport, and then I needed a visa to a communist country. And I had no idea even how to start that. So my sister told me that she knew a diplomat that would come to the General Assembly, to the United Nations, and that maybe he can help me get a visa to Poland. He was, of course, Polish. And that's how I ended up at the United Nations. I went there. And at one point, I mentioned something, "This must be an amazing place to work at." And he said, well, go and apply. And I'm like, no, I mean, I couldn't even finish my college. I had to go to work. He said, go try, just get an application. So I did, and I put in for like a clerical work, admin, and that's how I ended up at the United Nations. Um, and it just so many. I mean, I've been held up at gunpoint. I learned how to drive a tank. I was blessed by the Pope. I was reunited with my family. So I was a single parent. I had a daughter. So and to overcome all this, to survive this, and still to be hopefully as normal as possible, I thought I have to write this. I have to let others know that no matter what you have gone through in your life, you can overcome and you can make a beautiful life for yourself.
So, how many years did it take you to make that decision after you left the home? How many years had passed in between leaving the home that your adoptive family was in when you decided, I'm going to share this story and I'm going to put it out there?
Well,
I was writing it.
I started to take notes because things were so, when I was adopted, I thought I'd be getting a mother and a father, a loving family. And so, but I noticed very strange things, it wasn't normal. So I started to write little things down, like in a steno pad, just like, oh, this happened or this, never thinking about writing a book, just thinking to myself, so much is happening. I might forget it. I want to remember, what happened or these moments. And I did that. And then, continually I would write a little bit more, never planning on doing a book. And then one day I had about, just for my own self, I had about 30 pages. And my niece, actually, my sister Elizabeth, is the one who found me, and her daughter lived with this, with the loss and the longing and the trying to find each other. And one day I sent it to her and I said, Eva, look at this and tell me what you think. And she read it and she came back to me and she says, Auntie, you must write a book. I want to know more. This is so much. This is amazing. So I wasn't still in that mode to write. I said, listen, Eva, do me a favor. Once a month, tell me to write more. So, and that's how it went on for like that for 10 years. So I was a little slow. And I just, and then she would say, oh, let me read more. I'm so interested. This is fascinating because I lived through this and now I see your side. So I would just continue writing a little bit. And that's how it really began. And then I thought, okay, maybe this might be a good book.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. You've talked about the power of storytelling in healing. By recording your own story of your life, what return did you receive? How did that help you heal, and in what ways?
I think that, first of all, the pain that you go through is always there. Okay. It's not like you're going to heal. You're going to, it's just basically being resilient, going to the next step, and letting go of all the abuse, the heartache, the loneliness. My biggest decision was once I left this family, I told myself, I have to let go. I have to let this pain go. I cannot be angry with them. I cannot hate them. I just want to go on with my life. And I think in writing my book, it just allowed me to see my life as a progression, a growth, learning, and knowing that letting go of the pain and just moving on with your life is the most important thing.
How did your life experiences translate into your UN peacekeeping. So you take all of this wisdom and knowledge, and you've processed what has happened to you, and now you have this wonderful role as a peacekeeper. How did those past experiences translate into how you helped others?
Well, I worked on international conferences for 10 years. International Conference of Population, Women's Conference, all different conferences. But at one point, a friend of mine used to talk about Africa. And I remember the way she explained it, I was fascinated by it. I thought, oh my God, I really want to experience not just working in an office, but if I ever have and working at the United Nations, I had colleagues traveling, working in different parts of the world. So one day I was at lunch and a friend of mine mentioned that she received a call from personnel at the UN asking her to go to Angola, but she couldn't go because of different other work, that she was involved in. And so I thought to myself, well, I'm between executive boards. I got the name. I went back to the office. I looked up the name of the person, Mr. Shu. I called him up and I said, hello, Mr. Shu. This is Christine so-and-so. I hear you're looking for people to go to Angola. Well, can I meet with you tomorrow at 4:00? I would like to tell you, I would love to go to Angola. And so I went to the meeting. And of course, about 2 months later, I was on a one-way ticket to Luanda, Angola. And people in my office thought I was a little, out of my mind. But to me, I wasn't afraid. First of all, we're working in the Daily News building in New York City. You can cross the street and get killed by a car, okay? And I felt that if I, at age of 9, had no fear coming to America alone, without the language, without anything, I didn't fear going to a war-torn country. I just wanted to experience life, to be there, to help, to do what I can, to participate in this world. So I think that sort of set me on a trajectory to go out there without holding back, without being afraid to make the next step.
Mm-hmm. And what did you learn from your travels and from the people that you met across continents and different cultures? What beauty did you take from them?
That we are all one humanity. We all have the same wants. We all want peace. We want our family to be happy. We want food. We want shelter. From all the cultures, we are still one people, and everyone walks with dignity and grace and kindness. And that taught me that everyone in the world, we're the same. It's just, okay, a different lifestyle, different culture. But even in these women I saw with buckets on their heads getting water, they would walk for hours to get water. They had grace and kindness, and they all loved their families. And that we all have the same wants and needs all over.
All over. That is such an important point to make, especially in the times we are in now, that we all have that common need in humanity. So what did it feel like when you came back to America? I'm just wondering, because there's one of the observations that I grew up in Canada, and one of the observations that I made when I moved here, it was surely the land of plenty. And I always have wondered, I just think there's enough to go around for everybody. I always kind of say there's plenty for everybody if we changed our priorities. What are your thoughts on that?
I totally agree. There is enough for everyone, but People see money as priority, power as priority. So, everyone has their own, but there's enough food, there's enough kindness, there's enough for everyone to live a peaceful life if we could only come to terms to unite as humanity.
And so we'll keep working on that.
Yes.
We will keep striving for that, because that's the ultimate goal. We have to. We can't give up on that, because I think that we give up on ourselves if we do.
That's one thing. I never believe in giving up. No matter, to me, the glass is always half full. No matter what happens, you cannot give up. You have to keep going. And that is the most important thing for all. Just move one step in front of the other. It's taking that small action that can change your life, not to be stuck, but to keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that you're not going to shed tears or be afraid, but to keep moving forward, it allows you to find yourself a little further down the path where maybe you can see a different perspective and be hopeful.
Absolutely. When my adopted parents told me they were going to take me out of high school, I was going to West Catholic. They said, we're not paying for it, And so I was 15 and I thought to myself, oh my God, I thought I was getting a really good education. So I started looking in the Philadelphia Inquirer to get a job. And because I was tall, I was able to get a job modeling and handing out American Express applications. And that's how I put myself through high school. So, I didn't give up. I didn't say, okay, I took control of my life. It was a little step. It was taking a newspaper saying, what can I do? Where can I get that little job that will help me pay for my school so I can stay there? So it's those little things that you do. And they might be difficult and maybe scary, but it's just important not to sit there, but just to take one little step. Just start with the first one.
I'm humbled by your tenacity. I mean, that's amazing. As a teenager, that you would say, okay, I need to have this education, and I'm going to take responsibility for making that happen. It's amazing that you had that insight at a young age, but that came from you being a little girl and being courageous to leave your home country and come to America. I mean, it just, as your life unfolded, you continue to show how courageous you were.
Oh, thank you. Even when my adopted family told me, okay, you will never see your family again. You have no family in Poland. That could have killed me, or I could have gone into, of course, I cried every night for years for my family because it was like a death. But every day I showed up. Every day I went to school. Every day I tried to learn the English language. No matter what was happening in my house, I made sure to get to that school. I made sure to get that education. I made sure to learn those words and do the best I could possible.
So right now, and I want to ask you what it felt like to be blessed by Pope John Paul II, and the role that faith and your spiritual connection played in your life. So tell me what that was like. I'm imagining it, and I just have to know.
Well,
hey guys, Kelly here. I wanted to jump in and let you know that you can find out more about my work by visiting my website at kellybuckley.com, or you can find my books on Amazon. Okay, back to the episode.
I was just at the United Nations by then, only like 6 months, I believe. And the first non-Italian Pope was elected, the Polish Pope, Pope John Paul II. And I was at the United Nations, and his first trip to the US, he was coming to the United Nations. This was a Friday that we heard. And I was, oh my God, the Polish Pope is coming. So I was so excited. And I talked to my friend Shirley. And I said, Shirley, we need to get some tickets. Oh, somehow I would love to see the Pope. So she's like, well, our boss, Byron, was working in protocol at the UN. She said, well, maybe I'll talk to him and maybe he can get us some tickets. I said, wonderful. So this was Friday. Monday morning, I arrived at the office. Shirley calls me. She says, guess what? Byron got us 10 tickets to see the Pope, but there are 23 staff and we will draw for the tickets. And she's like, you haven't had luck in your life at all. So just come over and I'm going to give you a ticket to see the Pope. And I'm like, okay. So I go over quietly, I was nice with my white suit or whatever. I had creamy suit and I'm sitting and Shirley's giving me this ticket, and I'm putting it in my bag. And another girl, Ghislaine, she had a ticket to the visitors lobby for the Pope. And so as I'm putting this one ticket for the General Assembly in my bag, Ghislaine says, Christine, aren't you coming to see the Pope? And of course I had to say, no, I have no ticket. What else? So she grabs another ticket from Shirley and she's like, come on, you have to go see the Pope. You're Polish. So I go off with her and it's like 9:30 in the morning and we're standing in the visitors entrance of the United Nations and the Pope walks in and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, I cannot believe that I'm here at this very moment. The first day the Pope arrives and he's at the UN. And so he's walking and it looked like he was walking towards me. And I was just feeling so blessed. And he's getting closer. And then he took a left. And I was like, oh. And so the one of the assistants of the Pope must have saw my face dropping. He comes over and like he's going to go tell the Pope, come over. There's a Polish woman here. Anyway, the Pope never came back. He went to see the Secretary General. So I still had that one ticket that Shirley gave me in my bag. And I thought, okay, this is only like 10 o'clock. The ticket is not until 2 or 3. So I thought, do I go back to the office? I knew what to do. But then I thought, let me go check out the General Assembly, what's going on there. So I went there and there were like 50 people waiting for the doors to open for the next 2 hours. So I thought to myself, well, they're not afraid of getting fired. I'm not going to be afraid either. So I stayed with them. And we were like talking and waiting. Finally, the time comes. The General Assembly doors open. And I am in the 10th row in the middle seat. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe that this moment has arrived. I'm sitting there. And then, of course, the Pope comes to the podium and he starts making his statement to the staff, because there was directors, ambassadors, United Nations staff, diplomats, 2,000 people sitting quietly. You can hear a pin drop. And the Pope, about halfway through his speech, a woman with a baby comes, he blesses the baby. And I am in heaven. I'm like, oh my God, I am so blessed to have this moment to be here. And then as I'm sitting there, out of nowhere, my body gets up. And I hear like an echo in my ear saying, excuse me, excuse me. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? And it's just like someone took over. And I get to the aisle and I start walking. And I can't believe that and I'm looking at my feet and they're moving. And I'm having a conversation with God. Please let me sit down. They're going to fire me. They're going to shoot me. And God did not. So my feet are going slowly. And I'm so embarrassed because I'm a new staff member. There are 2,000 people sitting and I am walking towards the podium and I'm pleading with God to let me sit down because everyone is sitting. And I get to the rope and I'm still pleading, God, please let me sit down. So the security comes over, grabs my hand and says, go sit down. I couldn't talk. No words would come out of my mouth. So as I'm standing there with the security guard, the gentleman from the Pope's entourage comes over and grabs my other hand and says, stay there. So both of them have my hand, go or stay. So they got annoyed and they left me, and I'm standing there. And then out of nowhere, my hand starts to go up. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I am so embarrassed. There are 2,000 people sitting there, and I am standing here in front of the podium, and my hands go up, and I'm looking at my hands. I'm wondering, where are they going? And finally, they go as high as possible. I'm standing there, and at that moment, the Pope stops his statement, turns around to face me with his hands up, and we're facing each other. And then the security removes the rope, and I go up to the Pope. He gives me his ring, and I kiss the ring, and he blesses me.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, you had that whisper in your ear, and you knew what you needed to do.
Oh, I didn't know anything. I didn't do anything. People said to me, why didn't you tell us you were going to do this? I would have never done it, ever. I mean, no. I don't know what happened to me. I cannot tell you how my body lifted. I cannot tell you about my hands. I don't know anything. I just know that whatever spirit moved me, it happened.
So moved by God, and I mean, you must wonder, maybe the Pope saw that. Maybe the Pope could see that this was something beyond just a lady standing up and coming down to the road.
I don't know. All I know is we're both facing each other with our hands outstretched. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have photos. It's in the book, but I mean, it's and I remember after that, the next day when I saw how he moved millions of people, and I thought, oh my God, this man blessed me. And it felt like I went through so much hardship, so much pain, and so much loneliness. It was like as if God said, I see you. I know you exist.
Which is, we talked about human needs earlier in our conversation, and to be seen is such a human need that not everybody is afforded. And yeah, it does sound like God said, I see you, and I see what you've been through, and I see what you're turning it into.
That was my feeling. That this is what I felt. I had no other thought. Yes.
Yeah. So what role has your faith played in the book and in your daily life since that time?
Well, my adopted parents went to church every Sunday, every holiday, and they were not good people. Okay. Mm-hmm. So my faith, I have great faith. I believe in God. I believe in all that. But I think human people and what they a lot of times show on the outside is not what is in their heart. And I think God only wants to know what's in your heart. He knows what's in your heart, whether you have kindness, some humility. How do you help others? Are you a good person, to other people? So I think that is the most important thing. I mean, the blessing, I want God to know that I am deserving of it, and that I want to be the light. I want to be there. I want to be a kind, good person. So that has showed me that.
And I mean, I think it's just so beautiful that to have the knowledge that faith cannot be contained within the walls of a church, that faith and God are found everywhere.
Yes, it's the life you lead, not where you show up every Sunday.
Right. Yes. And I think if there was ever a time where we as humans need to put our faith in action and show that kindness and compassion, it is now.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I so agree with you.
Mm-hmm. How do you define resilience for our audience, and how has that definition evolved as your life has unfolded?
To me, resilience is, first of all, not giving up on yourself. It's just no matter how difficult things are, just take that one first step. Just don't let life overwhelm you. Know that you have strength. You just have to find it inside of you and just begin with one little step and have faith in yourself that you can do it, that you can do things, that you have the power within you if you allow yourself to realize that we all have abilities that we don't even, that are so buried that we don't allow them to come out. Just one step at a time. And then you will see that, you know, that things happen in your life, materialize. And it's just keep going. One door closes, another one will open. But if you look at it as doom and gloom, that is what you're going to get. But if you look at it, it's another opportunity. Just don't give up. Just take that next step. It's just keep going. Even with this, I mean, I've retired from the UN and I wrote this book, and now it's like, it's exposing myself to the world, but take that next step. Have the courage, just one step at a time.
Yes. What advice would you give to someone who wants to live a resilient life like that, who wants to take one little step at a time, but they're stuck and their internal conversation is just completely negative? What advice would you give them to start them on the path and to kind of break that internal conversation that they're having?
First, negativity feeds on negativity.
Mm-hmm.
I never allow that, no matter how bad things are, okay? I never feel defeated. I mean, the sky could be falling in. So what you need to do is just, shit will happen to you. Things will happen that you cannot imagine. But you have to just within you don't fall into that trap that it's all bad, that nothing's going to good happen to you. Have that little spark. Just start with a tiny spark in your heart. Make that little move. Just it's in there. Find it. Take a moment. Believe in yourself.
Yes. And feeling worthy of being happy, and feeling worthy from being able to move on from circumstances. It takes work. It takes work to change that conversation.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. I mean, there were times where I remember like negative thoughts would be coming into my mind, because things were really bad. And I would just like try to do something else, not to allow myself to go deeper into that pit of hell of just despair. So do something, take a walk, look at the sky, how beautiful it is. Be blessed that we have peace, in our country, that we have opportunities. Just be grateful for all the things that you do have, and slowly you can pull yourself out of the deepest.
Mm-hmm. And I think I work with a lot of people, and gratitude is one of the main components that I teach, which the use of gratitude and finding little things in the times of struggle. That's when gratitude is probably the most potent medicine you can give yourself. Is when you're in the struggle, because you have to actively search for things to be grateful for.
Yes, and there are, and we are so blessed, and we don't even realize it. There's so much abundance in America. You have the opportunity to go to school, to dress, to work, to do all these things. Where, let's say, like Ukraine is being bombed and people are living, or Africa, women are walking for miles to get water. We have everything, and you should make use of all these opportunities to be grateful and to do the best you can in your heart.
Mm-hmm. So for our listeners, I'm hearing some wonderful examples from you. Do you have any rituals or practices that you do on a daily basis or even a weekly basis that you would recommend to our listeners for staying grounded and staying on the path?
Well, one of the things that really helped me, especially in my 20s, I used to do like yoga, just small stretches, allow, put like some mellow music, just give yourself 15 minutes. And just do a little stretching. Just slow your mind down. Just take it in, and especially if you have no health issues or you're young, just take a few moments to yourself and do a few stretches. Like nowadays, I take a walk in the morning. I live in Florida. And actually, the weather is beautiful. So every morning, I walk for 2 to 3 miles at 7:30, and I look at this beautiful sky, and I say, "Thank you, God, for this beautiful blue sky, and the trees, and thank you for everything." And that lifts me for the day. But even if you don't have that opportunity, if you're living in a city or you can't get out, just give yourself that few moments of quiet, of peace, of not thinking about negativity, of how bad your life is and how bad. Just do a little stretch, do a little deep breathing, slow yourself down.
Mm-hmm. And I think that is something that we've gotten away from. It's just slowing ourselves down and being in the moment. We always think we have to be go, go, go. And that leads to burnout. Eventually you can't.
Yes.
That's just not possible. You have to fill your cup. So that's some really great advice. And it sounds like nature plays a big part in your grounding. And I'm that way too. So I love that. I love those examples.
Well, I was brought up on a farm. I made friends with, in Poland, there were no toys. So I was friends with a blade of grass, a little flower, So to me that, like in the beginning, because we lived in the city, and I remember coming here to Florida, I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm back to smelling the cut grass. It's the wind in your hair. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm in South Carolina, and I feel the same way when I'm outside. I just feel closer to God, and it's miraculous what the lessons that nature teach you if you pay attention.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
It's all there. It's just we have to open ourselves up and be grateful for what we have, and we can do so much more, and just never to give up. Let go of the hate, let go of the anger. That's just going to hold us back. Just look forward a day at a time, a moment at a time.
Right. And I think one of the most healing things I've discovered in my own life is when you help another person. So you take that experience that you had and you pass it along, and you give them a little bit of wisdom or a little bit of hope. that's another way that I feel grounded when
Yeah.
I share the love.
Share the love. Yes, to be there to help someone, to say a kind word, to make them smile.
Mhm. If you could whisper one message to your younger self during a time where you felt, broken and afraid, what would you say to her?
You will overcome. It will get better. Never, just don't give up. Don't give in. Just keep going, keep trying, keep searching, keep moving forward, and life will get better.
That's great advice at any point in your lifetime, isn't it? Just keep going. What is one lesson that you hope our listeners carry with them after hearing your story and reading your book?
I would say that live life openly, enjoy it. There's so much beauty out there. Don't shut yourself away. Don't be afraid of new experiences, of traveling, of meeting new people. Just be out there with an open heart, and be kind. There's so many wonderful people out there. People, everyone, when you smile at someone, they smile back at you, So I think just live life with an open heart and a good soul.
Mhm. As you have that experience with United Nations. What would you say to our listeners about being curious about people who are different than them?
That really we're all the same. We all have all the same needs. We have all the same wants. Just because we don't look the same, or we don't live in the same place, or everyone needs love, needs shelter, needs friendship. That we're all really one humanity, one people.
Because it doesn't matter anywhere on the globe. We'll use motherhood as an example. A mother in Africa who's holding her baby and looking down at her little one with so much love. That's the same as someone in America, someone in Ireland, someone in Canada. It's
everywhere.
Yeah.
We're all the same. Of course, we have different, in life, we're given different opportunities or hardships. I guess sometimes the hardships are there to make us stronger. Or if not to give up, it's just to overcome, to learn, to grow from them. Personally, I wish my heart, I would have not want to live my life over again at all. It was hell. I've met the devil, but I definitely have no fear.
Talk to me about forgiveness, because that, you've been through a life experience that scarred you. And so talk to me about the process of finding forgiveness for the people who've hurt you. I know that many of our listeners have been through hardships of their own, and that's why I love this ability of to talk to people like you, who can kind of share their own journey. And so I'm wondering if you can speak to how you work towards forgiveness and what you would recommend to our listeners.
That's a very, good question and thought. I would say, for me, never to see my family, because my adopted father decided that I couldn't even say their words. He followed me thinking so many crazy things, beatings and calling me name. There was just so much going on. I cannot even tell you. But once, like, I started to work, once, I was able to, I knew I would get older one day. I knew that I would get a job. I knew all these things, even when I was 10, 12 years old. I think the most important thing, it's very difficult about forgiveness because, well, I forgive you for, for giving me concussions or kicking me or whatever. That's, never seeing my family again. The biggest thing for me that I did that helped me was to let go. Let go of the pain, let go of the hate, let go of what they did to me, let go of all the things that happened to me. I just felt, I took a moment. I knew that if I carried all that what had happened to me with me, and like as part of my life or part of my backstory, every decision I would make would be based on what happened to me. Every decision would have that those things. And I felt that it was so important. I couldn't change it already, what happened. I couldn't do anything. Forgiveness, it comes in different forms. But to me, the most important thing was to let it go. Let them go. Let them be. I still have my health. I'm able to get a job. I educated myself. And now I don't want to carry that pain. I want to just, it's there. It's always there. I can, it will never leave me. But it is not the deciding factor in what I choose in my life. Mm-hmm. So the most important thing is not to, I didn't go back and say, well, you did this to me, or you did that, or how could you? No. Then it would just, I would bring back that energy of hate, of getting even, of whatever. I didn't want any of that energy. I didn't want their hate. I didn't want any of their energy on me. I just said, I am closing that door. I will keep the pain, but I will let go of the past. I will let go. It will not be part of my life. It will not be this bag on my shoulders that I'm carrying for the rest of my life that will define me. My past will not define me. I let it go. I give it to God. I give it to the earth. I give it to the universe.
Because when you continue to carry hurt like that, you're unable to pick up anything that is give you light in your life. You have to be willing to put it down. And I mean, just as an observation from my own life, when you carry that and you refuse to lay it down, it almost becomes like an armor that separates you from everyone else.
Not only an armor that separates you from everyone else, it's an armor that separates you from your future.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's such a good point. So letting things go.
Don't leave it. Let it go. Just, I've lived it. That was my moment. Okay, I experienced hell. It was, but now it's gone. I've got managed, I had to leave. The day I left these people, I had nowhere to go. I sat there on a porch and I knew if I stayed there, they might kill me. And I sat there for hours. I was alone. I had no family. I'm like, where am I? I have to leave. I had nowhere to go. And I just sat there and thinking, okay, I have to go. And I sat. Finally, after hours of sitting on this porch, I thought, let me call my friend Dee, and if I could stay with her a few days. And that was how I left these people. And they didn't give me any documents. I didn't see any photos. I had nothing. I had a few pieces of clothing in a banged up suitcase, this little blue shitty suitcase. And that's how I started my life. I didn't when I left, I didn't leave with hate. I didn't leave with anger. I just knew I had to save myself. And I just called a friend and I said, can I stay with you? And then I sort of moved around and, I had a job and just slowly picked up my life and tried to find who I really am.
Mm-hmm. And as you said, you put down those burdens so that you could discover that life. Christine, I'm just so inspired by your journey and by your courage to share that story with all of us. It must be overwhelming to see the response.
Yes, I just wrote it to do it. I felt like I had to. It was so much happened to me in my life, and I've overcome so much, and I've managed to actually make it into a beautiful life. And so I wanted to share with others to know that they too can do it. And I am so deeply honored that I've had such a beautiful response. And I'm so grateful. And I hope that it can help someone, anyone, even one person is meaningful.
That's so true. Before we close out, can you tell our listeners where they can find you and connect with you and find your book?
Yes. Actually, I am on Amazon. They can get my book, 13 Years Lost. And I have a website, ChristineSadry.com. I'm on Facebook, Christine Sadry. And I'm on Instagram, Christine Sadry, and LinkedIn.
Perfect. So I would encourage our listeners to certainly check out the book, but also go to the website and just learn more about this inspirational woman I have had the pleasure to talk to today. Christine, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today on Broken Beautiful Me. I hope you found today's episode inspiring and insightful. Remember, every scar tells a story, and every story has the power to heal. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. Your support means the world to me, and it helps spread the message of hope and resilience to more people like us. Don't forget to leave a review and share this podcast with your friends and family. Together, we can create a community of strength and beauty in our brokenness. Until next time, stay strong, stay beautiful, and keep shining.